to another Hollywood Times Live. Tonight, reporter Valerie Milano interviews Nicole Conn and Jessica Clark about their new reality show, Coming Out for Love.
Hi, ladies. I'm Valerie Milano from the Hollywood Times. Welcome to our YouTube channel. I'm excited to have you for your new project, Coming Out for Love. And if you both introduce yourselves and what your role is in this project, please.
Well, I'm Nicole Conn. I'm the series creator, writer, and director.
And I am Jessica Clark. I am the show's host and also a producer.
Cool. Thank you. So who picked the title?
Well, the show was originally called The Lesbian Dating Show. And then we realized we couldn't use the word lesbian in marketing on Facebook, or they would pull it, or they'd think it was porn. So we realized, oh my God. So I don't remember how it came about. I want to say Sally Ann Monty. You know Sally Ann Monty? You know who she is, right? Oh, she's been connected. She's an author, but she's also involved with a million things LGBTQ in the Palm Springs, LA community. She's very connected.
And I'm surprised I don't know her because I have a home in Palm Springs. I'm very involved with.
Yeah, she has a home there and in Sedona, okay. I think it is.
Well, if I haven't met her, I will soon. But you think that she came up with the title?
I think she may have come up with it because we were like, what are we going to do? It's like the lesbian dating show, Coming Out for Love. That was sort of our tagline. So we just reversed it, Coming Out for Love, the lesbian dating show. So that's how it came about. But I think it was Sally who reversed it on its head. And we were like, hey, that's cool, Coming Out for Love, because we originally wanted somebody to actually be coming out. But then I think it was Jessica and Lisa Forehand, the other executive producer, said coming out is an ongoing event over and over and over and over again. And Jessica talks about that really beautifully in one of the segments about how every time she says the word wife, she's coming out again, you know, and it's a really cool segment about how we constantly are coming out and have to come out.
Nice. It's really amazing that this project is happening. You know, whether the personalities are problematic or not, we don't know enough yet because I've just seen the trailer. Thank goodness I got the trailer before I got to talk to you both. But I know it's probably still in progress, and you know, I just hoping to promote it as much as we can without too much toxicity. But that's probably what gets ratings, right? First ever lesbian dating matchmaking show, right?
It's not.
Yeah, I think what was refreshing and maybe a tiny bit surprising for me at least is that on set, like for the entire production, there was surprisingly little toxicity. I mean, there are some very, very elevated moments where that very much becomes a focus, and we really kind of delve into that and try and explore that, because I do think toxicity in women who love women's relationships, it takes a very specific form. So we wanted to sort of explore that. But in terms of the day-to-day, the cast and our inaugural lead, Amber, who's fantastic on the show, it was, as I say, it was a show kind of about finding romantic love, but I just witnessed so many different kinds of love, you know, so much like friendship and chosen family and showing up for people in their vulnerable moments and things. I was surprised. I shouldn't have been surprised because I love my community, but given that it was a reality show, I was a little surprised. And then somehow there's still a lot of drama. It's a really interesting balance of what happened.
Well, I love the way that Brandon Emelot, he's my other business partner and another executive producer, he says it's a reality TV show cut like a feature. And it is, because we're following the storyline narratively and sequentially. We don't have to manipulate much of anything. We really weren't in the business of manipulating. That's not what we wanted to do. And so we've captured a whole different kind of reality show that's a cut above, we believe, as well as being very, very in-depth exploration of issues that are really serious in our community, racial, drinking, all kinds of things that these girls are so incredibly articulate about. I just cannot get over how our cast presents. I mean, we're so proud of the show from that standpoint. Well, first of all, as I say, Jessica is our Kat Deely and Padma Lakshmi all rolled into one.
She's very complimentary about me. Don't
well,
worry too
no.
much.
Hey. No false modesty, Jessica. You were born to do this, I believe. You're phenomenal. You're not just a host. You're so connected to these women, and you take care of them, and you discipline them, and you just are an amazing character, all in all of the ways that you emotionally deal. And then, Jessica's always been wickedly funny. She always had us in stitches on the set of A Perfect Ending. So, she's very, very sharp.
Well, on that note, you were just talking about the different facets, the different, well, this show, it's obviously going to touch on topics like discrimination, inequality, and other misconceptions about the queer community, correct? And can you want to say something about that?
Well, I just wanted to say one of the really interesting litmus tests for me was Brandon is very, very straight. And he was my first AD on More Beautiful for Having Been Broken, and now has become a full-fledged business partner. Yeah. And he and Chris, his partner, business partner, were just fascinated by us like we were zoo creatures. That's the way I always describe it, because they were just like, what is this? These women talk about all these things we've never even heard about, all of that stuff, asking for consent. They don't, it's like a whole different universe. And the response we're getting from industry insiders who have been in the business for years and years and years, who have seen the first couple of episodes, have all used the same exact word, gold. They believe we have gold.
Lovely. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And can you talk about how important it is to the LGBTQ community? And what can viewers expect to take away?
I don't think. Oh, I'm so sorry, Jess. Go ahead.
No, please go ahead. I prefer you to go first, Nicole.
No, I was just going to say, I hope people don't come with any expectations. I hope they will, be open to being educated and entertained at the same time, because the set was like the most fun I've ever had on a set besides A Perfect Ending, both of which Jessica were on. Huge fun sets, very chaotic though, very high stress. Reality TV is completely different than features by, a mile and a half. Just so insanely different.
Well, it's elevation, right? Like you're drawn because you want to see the story, and you want to see how people evolve, and you want to see how people deal with different circumstances and dating and romantic interest and all of that. Like, it does bring up a lot of things in any human being, and I think one of the fascinating things that sets it apart from other dating shows or more sort of cishet dating shows is that this is a mansion of women who love women. So yes, they're very much, vying for the keys to stay with Amber for longer and get to know her for longer, but they're also bonding and connecting with each other. And inevitably, I think, sparks fly. And to answer to go back a little bit to your previous question, I think that queer representation, LGBTQ representation is incredibly important. I think that it's very important as well that it's told from the perspective of people in our community, at least primarily, because yes, there's to quote Nicole, the zoo animal thing. There's sort of the mainstream fascination with our community, getting insight that they don't have. Like every straight person I know has watched all of the L Word, all of the real L Word. Like they've watched them,
Yes.
And then what I also love though about Coming Out for Love is that I believe there's a lot to explore and to learn within the community, because the cast members come from very different perspectives. They come from very different backgrounds, ethnicities, places that they live, life experiences that they've had. And they're really, really communicating on a pretty deep analytical level a lot of the time. Like, we very much came into it with, you are not censored. We are not expecting you to say anything. You do not say whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. And we will respect that and try to get your perspective, because no one person's perspective is more valid than the others. So I think just that level of openness within the community is going to be really interesting, and I hope really well received. And my thing is also that whole thing, you can't please everybody, but not in a negative way. You know what I mean? Like, I think a show like this, queer representation, it's an evolution of queer representation. Like, for me, when Nicole came to me and asked me to sign on to the project, for me, I literally said, like, I'm not interested in doing it. I'm not interested in having my face and my person attached to this if I don't believe it truly represents the queer community as I know it to be, as I love it to be, as I'm proud to be a part of, you know? And I loved so much that Nicole is so open to that. And, you know, Nicole's a storyteller, ultimately, when you come down to it. You know, she's fascinated by the human experience. She's fascinated by women. She's fascinated by how women love and who women love and why they love, and, you know, all of that. Like, that's the essence of her as a creator. So to see it come into the reality sphere was really, really fascinating. And I do agree that it's stories told in a little bit of a different way, you know? And then there's all the sexy fun, and, you know, they're all gorgeous. And I'm really proud to say super ethnically diverse, body diversity, you know, gender expression diversity, monogamous versus polyamorous, like, you know, like, we really, really work to embrace, like, the true rainbow, which is the thing I stole from one of our team, the true rainbow of our community. You know what I mean? We're not all sort of mainstream, straight passing, you know, long hair, like, feminine clothes. I happen to be a little bit of that, but I have a much more masculine, I think, masculine energy than people would expect, you know? So I think that dichotomy is what is going to keep the show fascinating for our community, and also, I think, fascinating for the more mainstream viewer.
Yeah, exactly.
Very well said, which brings up a couple of more questions. You know, on that note, you feel as though that the show will help the world better understand what the LGBTQ experience is when dating and pursuing love. I feel it. But...
Yes, because you get to know these girls very, very much more in-depthly, but also kind of like the, you know, in The Bachelor, the first show is about introducing all of the contestants. We really do that in a wonderful way, because we have B-roll from wherever they were at when they shot all the questions. We gave them 20 questions to answer so we could get a feel for who they are. And we're going to be introducing the first 4 of them this Saturday. I'm sorry, where were we at? I'm editing 3 different projects right now.
Oh,
like in
that's so much going on.
Yeah. What did you ask me?
Just, is it, in your opinion, I mean, is it gonna help with the LGBTQ experience of
Yes. Okay,
dating and pursuing love?
Because we hear each of these girls' coming out story, and they're all very different. And then we have a couple of women on the show who haven't come out, who are coming out on the show. One of which is a Ukrainian model who is coming out to her Ukrainian parents on the show. So we have a lot of that sort of thing, you know, what they've gone through, and a lot of their stories are just heartbreaking, and a lot of them are, you know, younger, and so they were more easily integrated because they had, you know, LGBTQ clubs on, you know, their high school campus. So
yeah.
Well, the trailblazers, like, yeah, I always say that every generation, right, we're meant, I believe, as humans, like, the goal is to try and evolve and get to a better, newer, more open place, and then the baton is picked up by the next generation, you know? So when I was coming out, and I've been out for many, many years at this point, you know, it was people like Nicole Conn, it was all the, like, Jenny Shimizu, I was a model at the time, like, we had trailblazers before us. And so now what's so fascinating is seeing the next generation and the next generation, and that how they're evolving things. And so they're just, because they've grown up in it, like, you know, some of my generation could be the parents of some of Gen Z, and so they've grown up in a world, not not the whole world, not the whole country, but where there are a lot more spaces and a lot more conversation and a lot more open pride in who we are, and I think also the online communities, I personally think social media, it can be a devil, but it can be phenomenally important to people that are living, in places that don't necessarily have, obvious community. It's a way for them to reach out and find their people and find their tribe and figure out who they are and what they want to say. And then what we're finding is they're turning around to me and to my generation and to Cole's generation, and they're going, okay, that's great, but you kind of got this wrong, and this is where we are now. And I love that. It's fascinating to me. I always try and stay, as evolved and as possible, but like my wife's godchild will message me on Instagram and be like, Auntie, don't say it like that, and like I welcome that, and that's what I think with the show as well. It's to facilitate more conversation, right? It's like, well, what do these amazing women think? Why do they think it? How can it be evolved? What are the differences? It's all of that kind of thing. And so it's that level of visibility, I think, that hasn't been explored to its full extent before. And I do think Coming Out for Love does that and brings the conversation to a very different place.
Okay, well, I'm wondering if perhaps the women are representative of certain segments of the lesbian community and not reflective of the women out there who are who are successful in their careers, mothers perhaps, where the more mainstream, I'm going to just say less tattooed, less pierced women, for example.
I mean,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No,
I'm just proud of our community.
You're the show creator.
I'm just so proud of the community. Because in what you were talking about earlier, I learned so much from these young women. They do everything completely differently than in my day. Okay, when I was their age, it's just like the words they say to each other are completely foreign. So it's a very fascinating thing about, like what Jessica was saying, who we are generationally. We actually have a little thing that's called boomer bits, which so many people who see it love because they're boomers and they want to be able to, equate the information. So I think everybody who loves any sort of romantic dating show is just going to love this from that standpoint. But then there's all the gravy on top.
And also we do have a mother in the cast. We do have women that absolutely do not have tattoos, that are very reserved, that approach their love life and their romantic life very differently. We have women from the South who live in small towns in the South, whose experience, what they walk through day on day, is very different from somebody living in Los Angeles, where it's a very forthright community, and so they would express and conduct themselves, and will share that they conduct themselves differently on the show than some of the other women, not because they don't want to get wild, but because they know that they're going back to their small town, and they know they're going back to their child, and their child's in school, and what does that mean for them? So to an extent, we really do try and explore that. And then also, like, the plans for future seasons very much want to sort of expand the umbrella and bring in that different level of representation. For the first season, it's quite challenging, actually, to get a very diverse cast of women, because women in, more corporate professions, women, as you say, that have children, like all of that, like how there's even to go to the other end of the spectrum. I personally really wanted there to be trans representation on the show, and there will be in the future. But as my outreach, they explained to me that they didn't feel safe yet, because without having seen a proven body of work, they couldn't entrust to essentially strangers. They couldn't entrust that they would be portrayed in a way that they felt reflected themselves, and they have to walk through their life every single day. And to have them on a reality TV show where anybody could watch, any bigot could watch and try and identify them, that is a genuine risk to their personal safety, So I did a lot of casting outreach myself personally, and that was very much the feedback.
Yeah, Jessica brought.
Yeah, that was very much the feedback. So I truly hope that this season will will show and reinforce that. Will you love everything you see? Of course not. It's a reality show. Do we respect the cast and what they have to say and how they want to be? I believe we do, absolutely.
I'm just so thrilled that I have you both on today together. You know, I know we were going to do separate interviews, but this is so much more fun and so much more information than.
Sure is. I love hearing talk about the show.
We love hanging out with each other. Yeah, we're good.
Fantastic. Where are you in the shooting process? How many are in the can, and talk about that?
Oh, it's all in the can. We just have some post interviews with Jess. Yeah, no, we have 16 to 18 episodes. The plan is to release episodes 1 and 2 as a premiere, live stream premiere on the 14th with as many of the cast and Jess, promoting it on however you do those live things. I don't really know. That's what they're telling me we're doing. So, yeah. So everything, so we're basically in like mega post-production, and we've got this treadmill that we're on because we're not just cutting the show. We're cutting a lot of promotional material, previews, recaps, and stuff for all the lesbian, LGBT, and any other streaming platforms to be able to promote the material. So we've got a really huge marketing social media strategy going, and we have a straight publicist and Mona, and they're working hand in hand.
And Mona. I love that Mona.
Well, no, because I work.
No, I love it. Like, I dream to be at the level in my profession where just the first name is enough. You're immediately identifiable. I mean, I'll never happen with the name Jessica ever, because everyone's called Jessica, but hats off to Mona. I love that.
There we go.
Hey, you don't know that. Wait till the show comes out.
I'm being
Jessica,
silly. But,
Jessica.
Oh yeah, just Jessica. No, thank you. Nobody needs that.
Yeah, no, everybody knows who Mona is. That's for damn sure. And I've worked with her for every last project I've done since A Perfect Ending. So, like I've been with her for 10, 12 years, however long she's been around. So, yeah.
Fantastic. She is. That's for sure. I'm just going to switch gears here a little bit because I was at an event last night that the Blade publication put on. It was an award show, and the wonderful Seppi Shine was there, our new mayor from West Hollywood.
I love her.
Isn't she amazing? Yeah.
So incredible.
Who is it? Who's our new mayor?
Seppi. You know Seppi Shine, right? The mayor.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so she was there, and that's what this event was all about. And it took place in downtown LA that the Blade, like I said, put on. And I actually happened to meet Amber Whittington.
Mind if I tape this?
I don't mind at all. Okay. Yeah.
Can you start again? It was
yeah. So I was at an event last night. That the Blade put on. It was an awards opportunity for, Sheila Kuehl was there, not there, but she had her presence there with a video, and the wonderful new mayor of West Hollywood, Seppi Shine, who's wanting to go on to more politics, I hear. So good for her. She's a personal friend and she's amazing. But anyway, so a lot of people were there, and I happened to meet Amber Whittington, I believe is her name. And she was talking about the show, that how she walked off but she's still on the show, and maybe she's going to be co-hosting, but she's not on the producing side anymore. And she started to say because, and then she sort of trailed off. So if you don't mind talking about that a little bit, I'm just kind of curious.
Well, thank you for that. Amber's trying to figure out what level of support she wants to give the show, and we're giving her that space. As I've said in every interview, there couldn't be a better inaugural lead as far as I'm concerned. She's brilliant. Every straight woman in the universe is going to fall in love with her. They already have started. She's just the most impeccable representation of who we are. You couldn't, I say she's Gandhi and Barack Obama's love child. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. So she, like Jess, brings so much to the show beyond. I mean, she has an imprint all over it as well. But for me, Jess is, the heart and soul of the show.
Wonderful. Well, I know that, we all have some stuff to do, and Jessica said she has to be off by 2, and we're about 15 minutes in. But for our viewers, how can we reach you guys? Social media? Can you talk about how somebody can reach out to you?
Yeah, comingoutforlove.com.
Say that again.
Comingoutforlove.com.
Perfect.
They can go to the site and see, and it's got all the information, and it will have the first episodes up this Saturday, along with onemorelesbian.com will also have those episodes up Saturday.
Say that name again.
Onemorelesbian.com.
Okay, thank you.
Or OML, as people refer to by its acronym. It will be up on.
And on Instagram, it's Coming Out for Love _show.
Mm-hmm.
And it is at OMLTV. And I, if they should so wish, is at the Jessica Rose Clark.
The Jessica Rose
Clark, CLARK.
Okay, thank you. Maybe it's just my hearing with my age, but
it's my accent.
And where are you from?
I'm from England. I'm from London, but I started modeling very young, and so I've lived and worked all over the world very gratefully. I'm very lucky. And then as I transitioned into acting about 10, 12 years ago, I had to learn an American accent, which was surprisingly difficult for me, except for a really bad Southern accent. I could do that right off the bat. But like the sort of across the board news presenter American accent took me a long time. And so it's sort of been incorporated. So sometimes my R's roll, sometimes they don't, not when I'm working, but when I'm just speaking off the cuff. And so it's this weird transatlantic drawl that people usually think I'm South African, which is fabulous, but I'm not. I'm from London.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, ladies, again. And if there's nothing else, is there anything else you would like to talk to the viewers about? Then we'll close it. And I'm excited. Go ahead.
I hope everyone loves the show, but even if you don't love it, we would love to hear your thoughts.
Exactly.
I want this to be an interactive experience.
Yeah. Huh? What do you want us to do next season?
Yeah, what do you want us to do next season? What did you respond to in this show? What could we have done better? What did we misexpress? Or, what did we get wrong? We're not presenting this as like, we know exactly what the community is. We're presenting this and being like, look how amazing and diverse we are. Like we're this amazing, beautiful community together, but within that community, there's so many different types of women who love women and LGBTQ people in general. And so communicate with us, communicate with each other about it. I would love to hear, truthfully, honestly, we would love to hear, and what you want for next season.
Bravo.
Thank you so
much.
I
can't wait to see it.
Thank you. Tell all your pals.
Oh, absolutely. All right, Nicole, Jessica, thank you again for your time. And
thank you for watching. I suggest you subscribe to this channel for the next Hollywood Times Live.